Welcome to episode 1 of the Damian Blue Show, comic book and King of Pop Talk. Okay guys, so I promised you something cool, so here we are. We're going to be looking at Spawn. This is the director's cut issue. It came out, it was for issue 1. It came out in May of 2017, which would have marked the 25th anniversary of Spawn. These are 3 of the variants. There were tons of variants, like there were when Spawn first came out. You know, when Todd McFarlane did Spider-Man, variants were crazy, but these are 3 of them, so I'll just probably read from this one. But the thing about the director's cut that Todd McFarlane released, it's cool because when we get in here, you're going to see like he talks about his commentary, and we'll definitely get into that. But the thing about this is it's in black and white. So when I said to you guys, like, this is the only image besides the cover that's really in color, so as you go through, and so if you just do a quick here, look at the dynamic difference of just how much the color adds to it. So when I said to you in episode 0, which if you haven't watched, go watch it because it'll explain what the show is. If you watch this, you'll see that really what I want to do is show you this, because this is much more dynamic, get you much more feel for it. Okay, so you're gonna be seeing this, the real issue 1, first printing from, let's see here, May of '92. I want to say it was, or 90, yeah, 92. Okay, but I'm gonna be reading it from the director's cut a bit, and I'm gonna jump kind of back and forth, but that's what we're gonna do. I also just want to say first, I apologize in advance to you guys when I do some of the vocal stuff for Spawn. I am not Keith David from the animated cartoon, and I'm certainly not Jamie Foxx from the upcoming Spawn movie that they're making, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And I also apologize for my Sam. You know, I was trying to lean into more of a Harvey Bullock from Batman the Animated Series type thing, but honestly it turned out more Andrew Dice Clay, so that's what I'm going to go for, I guess. So here we go. Sit tight and let's do it. Spawn number 1, director's cut. Okay. So here we go. I don't belong. Not here, not now. I have to get back there. The bet was rigged. He made me believe. Now there's darkness in my soul. Again. And just look at the image of this. It's really cool. Image, no pun intended. Okay. So here we go. But I chose to come back. Why? So here you go. Here's the first exposure to the news reporters in Spawn. You can see what's neat about him is these 3 reporters, Todd McFarlane said he's still used the same ones his whole time doing Spawn. So they're on like 290 right now. And I'm not current on reading it, but he said that it's the same reporters. So that's really interesting to me. And he talks about each of the reporters on here and about like how he views them. So he views this guy as kind of a Rush Limbaugh. And, you know, it's just really interesting to me that Todd McFarlane chose to keep these people all the same. So basically what they're also serving is they're also serving exposition. So the top one here from CNN, the lady, she's talking about that Al Simmons' funeral was going on, and that he saved the president from an assassination attempt, okay? And that he was honored by the president, and that hundreds of officers from like all over the armed services came. And then you jump down here to this guy who says, you know, his wife Wanda Blake was quiet at the service, and it's interesting that it's like they mention Youngbloods, which was a Image comic too, and they say that Al Simmons was involved with that. Again, just more exposition, but it's also fan service too. If you were reading Youngbloods, it's like, oh hey, you know, so that's cool. And then there's this guy, and this reporter, and he talks about that there was somebody on Wanda Blake's arm at the funeral. He says like tall, dark, and handsome. His name was Martin Alexander, was the person she was seen there with. And it's just interesting to me that the media was shown in a very Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller, kind of showing the kind of crudeness and just real, and I don't want to say inappropriateness, but just it's not all factual, and that the media can like lean into stuff that maybe they shouldn't lean into. Like if somebody just died, should you really be talking about, oh, his wife was sitting at the funeral on this person's arm? It's like, it's just tacky. And it's sad, but it's true that the media really hasn't changed. I mean, in my mind, again, if you haven't watched episode 0 of our show, go back and watch it, because the media persecuted Michael Jackson for years. And it's like, this is just kind of showing that real subtly, whereas something like The Dark Knight Returns really showed it very in your face. But I love both those because, I mean, time has really just continued to show the ridiculousness of the media, and it just keeps getting worse. So, okay, let's go on. Enough of my soapbox. I remember there was someone to love, someone to hate, and I was something special, and proud of it for a time. Then they turned on me. He turned on me. I remember dying. And her, oh God, she's so beautiful. I needed. He gave. I had to. All I could think of was her. So I promised, and he accepted. All because of her. This is one of my favorite pages. Just look at how dynamic this is. And if we were looking at the true director's cut, it'd be like, oh man, this is in black and white. But this, with these dynamic colors, it's just so awesome. Okay. Damn his lies. He accepted the deal. On his terms. His rules. His way. And somewhere in time, he bust a gut laughing. So Todd McFarlane points out in the director's cut, he put this in here to show this is Spawn's like powers. And so as the issue goes on, you'll notice that these numbers change, because as they go down, it's showing that Spawn doesn't have infinite power, even though he's risen from the dead. And so here's more. Yeah, he gave me power, but he robbed me of my memories. If I can just find her, then I'll know what this is about. But I can't even remember who she is. None of this makes any sense. A handful of images darting in my mind. That's it. That's all I have of my life. I feel I can do anything at all with my powers. But why can't I remember? She'll know who I am. Just look at that, man. Like, this is art at its best, you know. I know Spawn hasn't been around as long as some characters, you know, like Spider-Man when he was done by like Steve Ditko and stuff. But this stuff just looks so beautiful. The greens and the reds, man. Spawn's crushing it here. Just look at him, man. He looks awesome. Todd McFarlane, man. Okay, this is Spawn's big entrance. Todd said in the director's cut he really wanted it to be dynamic. He wants you to have to literally, like what we're doing now, shift the comic to see it. Just look at this, man. If before I die, Todd McFarlane sees this video or knows I'm a huge fan, what I want to own is some art of this signed by Todd McFarlane, man. This is just so cool. Look at this. Okay, so anyways, he says, I'm going to find her, all right? And when I have some answers, I'm going to find the one who framed me. So now you're already seeing Spawn's set up. Again, the exposition from earlier really showed he was a good guy, but this just goes further. Okay, so here we go. So here's Sam and Twitch, the introduction of him. Okay, Twitch, so let's try it one more time. You're telling me that somebody threw Carlo Giamatti from a window. Through a window, sir. Through a window on the 34th floor. 44th, sir. And he wasn't killed by the fall. Oh! No, sir. It was his heart. Heart failure? You might say that. Sir, it was removed. Removed? Yes, sir. It was stuffed in his mouth. Twitch? Yes, sir. We got 3 dead hitmen in the last 48 hours, and you're trying to be a comedian. I don't need that. Oh! Yes, sir. I ain't complaining, mind you. Somebody's saving me a lot of work. I figure we either got ourselves a grade A wacko or the best damn volunteer cop in New York City. Bada bing, probably both. Yes, sir. It's a hell of a town, Twitch. Yes, sir. The other thing the director's cut did was it chopped off, if you can see with my hand, it chopped off some of the bottom of this dialogue, and it's a shame because you'd like to think that, and I'm not saying that it wasn't a great issue, but I'm like, I would have hoped that for something as special as 25th anniversary, some of the dialogue wouldn't have got cut off at the bottom. But it is what it is. I'm still really thrilled that Image did it, and it's really cool. You got Todd's commentary right next to it. But okay, so this is Todd McFarlane said he wanted to show what Spawn could really do here with his powers. So, and he wanted to keep the story moving. He didn't want like 20 pages of fighting. So this is a really great way to do it, and it also shows that Spawn's heroic. Okay, so here we go. This thug here. Boys, looks like she's got enough for all of us. Fortunately, I get first dibs. So you see this woman like screaming, and he's like, he's not messing around. Shut up, bitch. And it's like, back off, guys. I got me an idea. And so he's literally like ripping off her clothes. Let's see how loud the tramp can scream after I cut out her tongue. And it's like, you see him ripping it off, but you don't see her naked. And Todd McFarlane says in the director's cut, he deliberately didn't want to show her nude because he wanted to leave it to the reader's imagination. And he also thought it'd be like a bit crude, but it's just really like, oh my gosh, this is serious. Like, these guys aren't screwing around. They're seriously a threat. I want a closer look while the body's still warm, you know? So here's Spawn, man. Get out. Now! Or you're all dead. What the hell? Hey, Shank. Looks like one of them Youngbloods. Again, referencing Youngbloods, calling back to it. And Todd McFarlane also says he loved playing with Spawn's fonts. Like here, when it says, get out, he wanted it to be small but then loud. So he wanted the certain words that are printed bigger to be spoken louder, which is really cool and unique. I'm going to carve me a super. You know, and he just grabs him, man. Look at that. Throws him through a window. Like, man, that's cool. Like, Spawn's a badass, man. Look at that. Bad idea. Just straight out Batman badass right here, dude. Like, Todd McFarlane said that Spawn was kind of Batman merged with Spider-Man in a lot of ways. So, and then the real comic itself came with this cool poster. Check it out, man. Just awesome stuff. Image really knocked it out of the park back in the day. Now, who's next? You crazy MF. Nobody jerks with me. Fat boy, you're way out of your league. If you go watch the Spawn animated series, man, Keith David, man, like, he's incredible. He delivers some stuff like this, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like, it's on par with Kevin Conroy's Batman, okay? Like, boom. No pun intended, because literally, boom! Okay? So you see this, man? These guys are messed up. So here we go. They're gone. You needn't be afraid. And, like, she is literally, like, freaking out. You can see how small this dialogue is. Please don't, you know? And it's one of these things where, like, she literally was saved by him. Like, she would have been meat, you know? But then it's like, ugh, not again, you know? And he freaks out. And it's because he's having all this rush of memories. No, you know, like, he is freaking out, okay? Once again, your mind explodes with a searing pain. A floodgate of memories bursts wide. Yet it is her face that keeps haunting you. Always her face. Who is she? Then things begin to crystallize. You remember your funeral, begging and pleading for someone to release you from the darkness. You're not dead. You can't be. Then you feel her presence, warm, caring, soothing. But somewhere deep inside, she feels empty now. She has no reason, no meaning, no soul. So Todd McFarlane said that what he wanted to do was, if we skip ahead a bit, he wanted the person that he saved and comforted to now be comforting him after his freak out. So, but your soul lives while hers is dying. Real emotional stuff, man, especially for a comic book. Like, very deep and poetic stuff. Okay, so here's our ragtag team of journalists again. And I just got to point out that it's like this was done in May of 92. It's June of 2018. And if you pick this copy up or the director's cut up and you read this actual dialogue, it's so true to even to 2018 that the media is this way. I mean, the bottom reporter, he's my favorite, just because I can see so many like him over the years. The people that care way more, about style over substance, flash over substance. I mean, the heavy exposition was done up here when the female reporter says that Carlo Giamatti was murdered. Like, that's something that's like exposition for the plot to move it along. But then you have this guy down here being like, oh, he's critiquing Spawn's wardrobe. I mean, now the spikes and chains, he has those, and they're simply darling, a perfectly riveting statement. I'm like, you can totally still see all three of these people represented. Like, here's a Rush Limbaugh guy, here's a CNN person, and here's like an E-News. All I really care about is the fashion side of things. And it's like, again, the media is just really absurd, and this does a good job subtly of pointing that out while also using exposition. So beautiful. But who is she? Why do I keep? She's my wife. I have a wife. But I can't remember anything else. I don't know what her name is or the color of her eyes, but we were husband and wife. That's why she was grieving at the funeral. It was her that made me want to come back. I let my mercenary instincts take over too quickly. Got too caught up in the damn costume. I'm no hero. It's just that everything is so different. What happened to the last 5 years? I'm stranded here, not knowing what's going on. I know I'm alive, but I can't feel it. Only thing I can feel is this damn costume. Got to get it off. Get away from it. Okay? So now he takes it off, and it's really sad because he goes to take it off. My face felt like, and now he's touching his arm. Jesus, what am I? And it's like he's literally freaked out. That look on his face, even though his eyes are solid green, you can still tell he is freaking out. And it's like he's crying. Like check that out, man. What am I? See, now it's not who am I, now it's what am I? So here's Sam and Twitch again. I don't know, Twitch. If it really is some government hero gone wacko, them Washington stiffs ain't gonna let us get close. Them tight asses. But if this guy decides he wants to start snuffing out Joe Average, then we got ourselves a serious problem. Oh, bada bing. And the damage this guy has done to these bodies is freaking unreal. How much power does this guy have in him? And so you can see, because he got in the fight, Todd McFarlane pointed out, he wanted this to show, oh man, Todd McFarlane's powers, they talked about it, isn't unlimited. So he needed to use it wisely. Like I said, it's a hell of a town. Yes, sir. By the way, I hear you only had 13 donuts today. Didn't know you were dieting. Shut up, Twitch. I'm not in the mood for your jokes. Yes, sir. So then you have this somewhere in time. You see the laughing. It reminds you of the Joker almost. Simmons, if you think you got problems now, I promise you your troubles have just begun. So there's the end with Violator Man, and he is crazy looking. And I know a lot of people lampoon the film that came out that had, came out in the 90s because of the horrible special effects, but it doesn't take away from this comic and just what it represents and how well it was put together at the time and how much it holds up now. If you kind of put that movie over to the left and you get excited about what Jamie Foxx and Todd McFarlane are doing now, I have a good feeling about it, just because if you've enjoyed this, you can see it's definitely not, Spawn's not he's not a Superman, a Boy Scout, he's meant to look intimidating and scary like a Batman, okay? So check this out. This was art that was done by George Perez, and Todd McFarlane says in the director's cut he's a big fan of George Perez, so it was really cool. And this is the the spawning ground, and Todd McFarlane actually wrote all this. I'm not going to read it, but it's really cool how invested Todd McFarlane was. He points out in the director's cut that Spawn had been around since he was a teenager in his head, and when you go back to like the first debut shot of him full scale, you had to literally shift the comic like we did earlier. It's like, man, it's just so cool that he was able to take that from something in his mind that long to this. And it's a character that has endured for a long time now. 25 years is a long time. And of the Image characters, I think Spawn is probably the one that most people will remember the most. Stuff he also pointed out was he wanted to do the eye like he did for Marvel. And it's actually some of the people that worked on this very same first issue are still working on Spawn today. So that's really cool. If you want to pick out the director's cut, here it is, guys. Go get it. It's not too expensive. Interesting to note that comics back then cost $1.95, and now it's like, ooh, $5. But it's really cool. It's worth having. That about does it for Spawn. Thank you guys for watching. This was Spawn number 1. I at least want to get through Spawn 1 through 5. I have pretty much every Spawn comic because I loved it. I mean, I remember, seeing that movie that I think it was HBO did around the time like Space Jam came out, and I'd been a fan ever since. Wow, that's a weird combo, Spawn and Space Jam. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought. If you want more of these videos, I apologize for my horrible voice acting. I gave it my best shot. And let me know what you guys want to see, Spawn-wise, and let me know if you're excited about the movie in the comments. Let me know if you still read Spawn. Thank you guys for watching. And we'll like I said, I at least want to do issues 1 through 5 because that was the first arc of Spawn. So we'll at least be doing that. So we'll be back with more Spawn, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.